everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel where automation meets creativity. So in today's video, we'll be looking at UI automation, but to be more specific, UI automation in UiPath, and the topics that we'll be looking into will be input methods and different input methods and the input activities. So I'll go ahead and jump in. So I'll open my activities panel. So I'll be working within the modern experience. I'm using version 25.that. By default, it's modern experience is enabled. So if you're using some older versions, you might have to switch to modern experience, because they two forms of designs. You have classic and modern, but if you're using older versions, you might have to tweak that a bit in settings. Design should be somewhere here. In the design, you'll be able to change to modern. So that's at that level. Alternatively, you could also change from around project settings. In general, it should be somewhere here. But for my version, by default, it's modern experience. Then the other thing, in tools, in extensions, you have to enable this, or given the application that you'll be working with on the browser, you have to enable it. So I have this enabled for Chrome, and I have it enabled for Edge, Firefox. So whichever browser you're working with, you can always come here and enable that extension in your UiPath. So that's the only way you can follow along with what I'm going to be working on today. But you can look that up online, how to enable the Chrome UiPath extension. So I'll come in my activities and I get my use application activity. So I'll open my browser. And I'll open this. Okay. So I log out. And I come back to Studio. So we'll be looking at input activity number 1, which is the type into activity. So this enables me to input text in a browser, but before that I have to let me slow down a bit. So I'm getting the use application browser, so I have to indicate the application I'll be working with. This is the admin, so I indicate that. So it's saying we found. Okay, so I'll use that. So that's the object repository. You also do a video on that. Comment down in the video if you want me to make a video on that as well. But you can as well find some resources online. So I've indicated the activity. So when I come into my properties panel for this use application activity, it's a very powerful activity, as you're going to see. So it has continuing error, so you're able to continue error, display name, that's the name. So this is Acme. Can change this to Acme system. Right. And then it has unified target application. So within the unified target application, so we have different attributes or properties, as UiPath calls them. So we have arguments, we have file path. So file path, this comes in handy if you're working with a desktop application. So we'll look at a small example within this code, within this particular video. So if you have that file path, that's where this comes in handy if you're working with desktop application. Then since you're working with the web application, this is the selector. This is the selector that enables us to access the Acme system on the web. I want to maximize on it so that you can have a look. So you see, if I indicate, if I highlight here, so you see this red square, it shows me that I'm selecting the Acme system, and this is my selector. So we'll also do a video on the selectors, but for now, this is what you should know. This is my selector that enables me to pick my application. So the URL, that's the link to whichever website you're trying to access. Then your working directory, if you have one. So I'll leave those at the default. Then I have input elements. I'm not using these for now. Then we have close. Within the options, we have close. So now the close, it says, so what this helps you, when your automation is done running, it tells the bot to close. You have different options to select from. You have never, this is never to close. Open by, if opened, this is used when it's open. You don't need to open, you just use it. Then the always, that's what it will always open. So by default, it's the always by default it's always that's enabled. So then this is a new feature that leverages the new AI technology. Is called Healing Agent. So this one by default, it enables you to be able to automatically make any corrections within the UI in case the UI has changed. So this feature helps you to automatically make those adjustments and run. Then the input method. So we have different input methods. We have hardware events. So we'll be going into a little detail into this so you can see the difference. But the hardware events, basically, these ones literally mimic how we humans interact with any application, like how you go on and type in these hardware events. We'll do that. Then the simulate, this is the fastest one. For it does it like how bots do it. So in case of any typing, it will be faster, as you will see in the demo. Then we have the Chromium API. This is only available in the modern experience. So if in the event that you're not using the modern experience and using the classic one, this option might not be available. But if you're using modern experience, this option will be there. Then send window messages, and then background. To know more about this, so you can come into your browser and type in input UiPath input methods. So within this documentation, you're able to see the different input methods. So you see hardware events, then have their compatibility level. So you see these are very compatible literally with every application, because as I say, they mimic how we humans interact with systems. Then we have the same window, then simulate. So speed, you see they're telling you the different speeds. I told you simulate is the fastest, so you can see here. So you can take time and do a deep dive on this. So I'll go on, carry on. As we see the close, we also have the open. So the open also has different options. Never, if open, always. These are similar to the close. Then the resize window, this you're able to maximize, to adjust according to what you're working with. you're able to get those different attributes. Then we have the window attach mode. We have those options there. Application instances, single window. This can come in handy if you're working with multiple windows within the same application. This feature can come in handy there. So then this is incognito private mode. You can enable it so that you can also work in that mode. Then these other options. So we can also use, so because there are different ways different approaches that you can use depending on your environment. But for now, in our use case, I'll leave those as default. So I've picked my Acme system. Yeah, my Acme system. So what else I'm doing? I'm going to type into. So I'm going to drag my type into activity. Indicate on screen. So I'll use F2 on my keyboard. You see I'm not on the right tab. So I'll use F2 on my keyboard to pause a bit. So this gives me an allowance of 5 seconds to be able to switch to my desired window. Alternatively, you could also use the Control tab on your keyboard to switch between the different tabs. So I come in here, so I want to type in here, so I'll indicate this. But when I indicate, we see two things happen. We see this blinking green, which indicates target. We also see this blue anchor, right? So what's happening here? So this is my target. My target is this square. Okay, sorry, the rectangle. This is where I want to type in my email. But if you look at this input text box and the one for the password, are they anywhere different or similar? You can type in the comment and let me know. Are these rectangles the same or? But according to what you're saying, we see that they have the exact same dimensions, right? The email and the password, they have the exact same dimensions. So meaning, if my target doesn't have an anchor, so you see an anchor for this case, it is my label email. So it is the one that helps me identify directly that this is the target that I want to type. But if that wasn't the case, then the bot would be confused. It wouldn't know whether this is the square that we're going for because these are similar. But with my anchor, then the bot is guided properly. So, and when you come in on my right here, so you see that I'm in my target, so I've selected the target. So within the target, I have different selectors. So I also do a detailed video on the selectors. But we have different selectors. We have the strict selector, we have the fuzzy selectors, and also the computer vision, as well as the image, right? So you see within my fuzzy selector, we have these attributes, right? ID, tag, input, so email. So we see this is what enables me pick these. So this fuzzy selector literally just picks the HTML attributes of this email in here, right? So these are the ones that I have in here. So that's for the target. Then for the anchor, you see that the anchor have label, which is email, right? So it's able to point me here, right? So to show you a bit, I will press still F2 on my keyboard, then I'll press F12 on my keyboard to open my developer tools here. So I'll press F2 again to show you something I want to indicate. F2. So I want to indicate here on screen something small here. Alright, so I have highlighted there. Cool. So I want you to look closely in my target. So this is the target, right? Because I've highlighted it here as well. So you see, as I told you, this is just speaking HTML tags from here. So it's telling us ID is email. You see here ID email. You can see here. So it is telling us tag its input. It's an it's a input tag for HTML, which is the case. You can see this input, and also it's telling us type its email. Also here I have type email. Same applies class control form. I have class control form, and then a name email. So you see, this is what I wanted to show you. Like whatever UiPath is displaying, it's picking elements from the back end of the web application, whichever web application that you're working with. So I'll hit F2 still, F12 to close my developer tools, and I'll go back to Studio. So I'll first let it load a bit. So I'll validate. You have this option to validate to see whether your selectors and points are saying validation is okay. Hit enter to confirm. So I'll hit enter. Yeah, so I'll input my text here. So I'll test it out. No, it's taking this one. Yeah, so that has, see, it has been able to to type into the screen. So I'll drag my another type into activity, and this I'll indicate. I have first open. Let me get this URL. So indicate the password. So you see when I indicate the password, so I already took you through. So it's able to get an anchor for password. So we're able to get this AA, which is exactly like our label, which matches our label. So I'll come and validate. Then all is well, I'll confirm. So it's saying I already have this in my object repository. So the object repository, for those that are new to my channel, so object repository is basically, but I'll also be doing a deep dive, but it's basically a repository for UI elements. We have also code repositories like GitHub, where you can store your code. So these ones are for storing UI elements. So you can use them, and if you're many developers, and it helps you with the scaling. So that's it. Then I'll get my click activity. So before I go to this select activity, so I'll come in, type in my password. So I type in my password. This is basically for demo still, but you can, best way is using secure. But since this is not the main topic, I'll just use that for now. And then I'll get my click activity to click on the login button. So I'll click here. So you see here for this, it hasn't been the tool hasn't automatically detected the anchor like what it did in the past for the email and the password. So here I'll just use this as my anchor. You could use any. It's okay. So for, because the you could add up, if I'm not mistaken, you can add up to 3 anchors to make it most. But for this, I'll just go with this anchor. I'll validate from here, then I'll confirm. So it's already, I'll just reuse. So to access the object repositories, you can access it from here, and you see that I have different UI elements. I have my login, I have my email, login, password. Yeah, those are my UI elements. Right. So I'll close and test this out. But okay, even before the test, let's first delve into the attributes of these, the type into activities. So if I come in properties, in the properties panel, right? So see I have continuing error, delay after. So the delay after, let me say if the bot is typing, should it wait for some seconds? You can adjust, configure this from here. But it's saying as by default it has 0.3 seconds. So before, so you see here in the targeting methods, the selectors that we are looking at the other side. If you recall, if you we had our fuzzy and computer vision by default enabled because of here of this configuration, so you can always adjust from here. And then type into, so here you see hardware events, you can click before typing, you have those, and you have options there, single, double, delay between keys. You could also do that. You could empty the field before typing in. So I have different what different properties. To know more about this, you can always come, click here, then you go on help. If you click, it just brings you direct to the what? To the documentation. So if you come in here, then you're able to get to know about the nitty-gritties of all the different what? Of all the different properties as they appear as we have seen them in the control panel. Sorry, in the properties panel. Head back to my studio. So I'll go ahead and run again, debug. So it has opened the application. It has already logged in. So log out. I'll close. So you see it's typing in. But let me run it again. Before we even run, let me first stop. Okay. Let me first log out. Close everything, then run. So it has opened the browser. It says why has it automatically closed? Because in my by default, as I told you, it always closes. If I change this to, let me say, never, I'll get a different response. So that's it for that. Then seeing that we have different input, we did look into this. So let me say I enable simulate click here. Let me just show you just something different here. You could choose between, so probably in the upcoming videos I will definitely show you the difference when you use hardware or simulate, because the speeds, as we did see, when you look into the different input methods, you see that the simulate is faster. So we'll also do a demo and look into that properly. So that's it for the input activities. If you have any question, drop them in the chat. And if you did find this video useful, consider subscribing and also hit that bell icon. See you in the next video. I'm out.